Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thanks for joining me. I'm Katie, and happy birthday Pisces! So as you've gathered from clicking on this video, it is another HIMI horoscope, and to mark Pisces we are turning 2 fish into 2 dragons. If this is your sort of thing and you enjoy this, why not hit that subscribe button and check the playlist of all the other dragons I've done. And don't forget to give me a like as well. Anyway, let's get cracking with the painting, shall we? So I can tell from looking at the screen myself, you can't see much of the details because I decided to draw this with a coloured pencil. But I promise you, there's 2 dragons there, and this is my second attempt, so make sure you stick around till the end of the video to see the monstrosity that was the first attempt. Anyway, I wanted to go for quite a dark colour scheme for this because I really wanted to make sure that the fish popped from the page. I did a couple of coats of the very dark blue included with the gouache set, and then this sort of turquoisey deep teal for the inner circle. The first dragon slash fish, what on earth are we going to call him? I mean, it is a dragon. It's got little claws and it's definitely got one of my style dragony faces, but it's very fishy as well. But anyway, the first dragon I decided to paint would be in more of a sky blue, and heading on in there with a richer blue for the details. I actually really like how these turned out. Again, after my first attempt, anything would have been an improvement. I think the composition on this is pretty good as well, and it just feels like there's a bit of movement. Now, instead of giving the fish fins, I decided to give them front claws. So maybe these dragons are like little hatchlings that are born in water and then either choose to stay in water or head out onto the land and live their dragony lives there. Who knows? If we're going to add a story to it, that's going to be the story. For the second fish, I decided to use the same yellow as I did for the first fish's fins and frilly bits. I really just wanted there to be a nice sort of opposite colours. Does that make sense? I just wanted them to be the opposite of each other, but similar at the same time. I guess almost a bit like yin and yang, but not entirely. And I did the second fish sort of swimming in front of the first fish that I've painted, again including the claws as well. And yeah, I really like the expression I ended up giving this guy. He just sort of looks pretty chilled out. He's quite happy swimming around, and the other one just seems quite nice and calm as well. And again, that's something I wanted to come across in this painting. To add the scale details, I just dabbed the brush in a darker colour and then dabbed it onto the page. I wanted the scales to be a little bit more consistent on these than how I normally paint the dragon's scales, and I wanted it to be throughout. I also added different tones of the complementary colours. Well, not complementary colours, just different tones of the same colour, I guess, just to add a little bit of depth. But I don't want it too 3D. I think the posture and the positions of the characters kind of make it look 3D enough. Just to add a bit of depth though onto the fins and the tails and the little frilly bits, I also added a richer hue of what I'd initially laid down. Again, not to make it look too 3D, but at least just to give it some sort of form. And I really like it. I really like the simplicity of this one, and I think with the original one that I attempted to do, yeah, there was just no movement. It was ugly. It's really ugly. I can't wait for you to see this at the end. It's bad. So, how many of my viewers are Pisces? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know, and obviously this picture is dedicated to you guys. Me, I'm actually a Gemini, so there's still a little while to go on that one. But the next month is Aries, I believe, and I have to turn a dragon into a ram. That's going to be interesting. I thought the fish one would be hard enough, but obviously the real challenges are coming up, and I've got to try and make a ram look like a dragon, or a dragon look like a ram, and that should be an interesting one. I need to think about that for a little while. Do any of you guys follow your horoscopes as well? I have mentioned it in the previous video that personally for me, I think they're just a bit of fun, and I enjoy reading them, but I don't take them too literally, because there are quite a few astrologers. It is astrology. There's a few astrologers out there, and it does appear that they might have conflicting forecasts, you could say, so I kind of pick and choose. And by the way, my lovely cold has come back. I never really got over the first one, but it's come back. I think all this horrible weather we finally had has finally made it resurface, so I'm all throaty again, so I do apologise, but unfortunately this is how I've got to be for a little while. Anyway, back to the picture. So it's time to give everything an outline, and I'm not a big fan of using black to outline things I've done in gouache, not at the moment anyway. I think it'd be too harsh. So as an alternative, I'm going around each coloured area rather, with a darker version, just to make sure that you can differentiate between the areas on the piece. I also decided to outline the circle in the background, because even though the colours are absolutely gorgeous together, I just wanted to go around it with some white, because it just sort of gives an illusion of it being a bubble. That's what I'm thinking. And I also go around the additional bubbles that I've painted on there and just fill them in with a pale version of the colours I've used on the painting. I'm really happy with how this one turned out, and again, I'm just comparing it to the monstrosity that's going to be coming up in a moment, so you are in for a treat. But I really just like the expressions I used. I like the whole composition of it. I just like the movement to it as well, and I think the original just looked a wee bit static, and the dragons I'd created just looked a little bit too complicated. They didn't really look like fish or dragons, whereas I think these two definitely do. And we're all done. Just the signature and the removal of the tape. Even the tape came off lovely. You know you're onto a winner when that happens. But speaking of the opposite, here is the first attempt. I gave up pretty quickly. It looks awful. But let's look at the nice one again. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you did. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, and a massive thank you for watching. Happy birthday, Pisces, and I'll see everyone on the next video.